Yo, what's up, SNA fans? This is Super Ninja Austin back here with another SNA podcast review. And this is episode 158. And we're going to be talking about the wildest, not the wildest, I'm thinking about wrestling news. I mean, the latest edition of NXT on November 5th, 2023. And yeah, this was a very good one because I'll say pretty much all their matches were very entertaining and must see and very watchable, of course. And this is part 17 of the review. We're going to start off with the second chance fatal four-way Iron Survivor match with Roxanne Perez, Thea Hale, Kiana James, and Fallon Henley. And yeah, this was a massively great match for the women to get a second chance opportunity to win and become the fifth participant of the Iron Survivor match at Deadline this Saturday. Yeah, and let you know this is I'm gonna be doing my NXT Deadline review after watching it exclusively on Peacock. But anyways, we got all the women in the match like. Tiffany Stratton, Thea Hale, Fallon Henley, Kiana James, and Roxanne Perez keep hitting each other with the most devastating move in all sports entertainment to get their second chance of being in the match, by being a fifth participant. But they are all kicking out of each other and coming for the saves. This is where we got Thea Hale Irish whipping Roxanne Perez on the upper right corner. This is where she tried to charge at Roxanne, but she gets booted instantly right into the face. This is where Roxanne Perez tried to go up right onto the top rope. I think she was, yeah. This is where she was getting ready to hit a top rope maneuver, but this is where her arch nemesis, Kiana James, came in and went right on the top rope, hit a right hand, clobbering poor Roxanne out off the top rope, landed to the right hand corner of the ringside area. This is where Kiana James was like, "That's what you get." This is where Thea Hale came in and hit the striking forearm, knocking her off the top corner apron. This is where it was her and Fallon into the ring now, and this is where Fallon Henley tried to go for a clothesline, but this is where Thea Hale ducks out of the way, hits a flying head scissor right in midair, and slamming her right into the canvas. This is where Thea Hale was like, it's just me and Fallon Hound. This is where Thea Hale came. I mean, not Thea Hale, her former tag partner in front of me, Kiana James. She grabs her around the waist from behind in a back to belly position. Try to go for the surprise roll up, which is the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment. This is where Thea Hale hang on to the ropes, which was the smartest move that Thea could ever done in this match. This is where Thea Hale tripped over Kiana James. This is where Fallon Henley hits. This is where she hits a headbutt, or a hip attack. I think it's a hip-a-kaye. That's what she called it. It was a hip attack that was called the hip-a-kaye. This is where Roxanne Perez hit the back spinning roundhouse kick right into the midsection of Fallon Henley. This is where she dragged out Kiana James out of the ring. This is where she started striking forearms right onto her while Kiana James struck one back at her. This is where Kiana James grabs Roxanne Perez and try to Irish whip her right to Simba the Steel Steps. But this is where Thea Hale came out of nowhere from the left hand to the right hand, hitting the suicide dive right onto Roxanne Perez with Kiana James moving right out of the way, right on time. This is where Thea Hale was more hyped after doing the maneuver. So, yes, that's what I'm talking about. But this is where she gets knocked the heck out by Fallon Henley with a right hand. This is where her tag partner / frenemy get her from behind, turn her around, and hit her with a striking forearm to her face. This is where Kiana James grabs onto her purse, which was something heavy, like if she had a brick or a rock or something in there, or even an anvil. And this is where she tried to slam it right onto the back of Roxanne Perez. But this is where, when she kicked her gut, she slammed it right on top of her, right from behind. And this is where Booker T was like, "Oh my God, very brutally interesting. I like it." I was like, even if it's the expense of your former student. But anyways, this is where Kiana James threw Roxanne Perez right onto the upper right right hand corner of Barry Barricade, right into his tombstone. And then this is where Kiana James this is where she went back in the ring. I believe she was fighting then was Fallon Henley until Thea Hale came in there. This is where Thea Hale was on the top rope. I believe Fallon Henley went right on top, countering, get ready to do a suplex on her, which she was planning on doing. But not only was an avalanche suplex, it was Kiana James stepped in, and this is where she got at what's her name, Fallon Henley, in the sunset flip powerbomb position while she was suplexing Fallon Henley, turning it into the Tower of Doom. Of course, this is where Kiana James was back in control. This is where fans were chanting NXT, 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 and then this is where before Kiana James could do anything to either Fallon or Thea, this is where Roxanne Perez came out of nowhere onto the upper right-hand corner, on the upper right, I should say, not hand, just the upper right corner of the team of the turnbuckle off the top rope. Roxanne Perez hits the ultimate comeback move in sports entertainment of 2023, and that is the crossbody. This is where she hits a missile dropkick right onto Kiana James, right onto the upper right corner. This is where Roxanne Perez is like, yes, I'm back on my feet. This is where she hits a running uppercut right onto the face of Kiana James. This is where she starts hitting striking right hands onto the face of her. This is where fans are chanting NXT, NXT. And this is where Booker T was like, oh, yes. I was like, now you're finally taking the side of your former student. Like, what makes oh, that's right. He's addicted to NXT violence and brawling. More than a homeless man than in a hurricane, like I usually would say. But anyway, this is where she went right on to Fallon Henley when Fallon Henley turned her around, and she hit a Luthes press onto Fallon Henley's face. This is where she hit the spinning roundhouse kick backward round. This is where she tried to go for the code red. She flipped her, and this is where Kiana James accidentally saves Fallon Henley and knocks out Roxanne Perez right off of her. Like I'll say, we won't be seeing a tag team reunion with these two girls, but the only thing they can agree on is fighting into this match, like especially even if it's Roxanne Perez. But anyways, this is where she knocked her off of her. This is where she hits a right hand right into the face. Booker T was still repeating, saying, "Oh yes!" Like still more excited than the homeless man in a hurricane. This is where Kiana James puts Roxanne Perez right into the upper right hand corner. I'll keep calling it hand, but you get the point. Like in the upper right corner of Team of the Turnbuckle. This is where she tried to charge at Roxanne Perez, but this is where Roxanne Perez moved right out of the way immediately before she can even attack her with any kind of move. This is where she landed onto the outside and to the right-hand side. This is where Roxanne Perez followed her. This is where Booker T will not keep saying, oh, yes, and this won't be the last time he'll be saying it. But it looked like he was in a hurricane. Say, woo, this is better than surfing on a tidal wave. But anyways, this is where Roxanne Perez grabs onto Kiana James, throws her right on top, right onto the announce table. Well, before she even did that, this is where she gets shoved right into the midsection by Kiana James when she countered the move. This is where she was trying to throw her in there instead, but this is where Roxanne Perez was rolling out of it, and then she finally put her right to the side, but she threw her right into the chair that her former wrestling teacher, I should say, into the chair, the same chair that her former wrestling teacher Booker T was sitting on just then. This is where Roxanne Perez trying to hit right hand onto Kiana, but she moved out of the way. This is where she hit her. This is where she grabs onto Roxanne's head and slammed it right into Barry Barricade. This is where Kiana James went right on top onto Barry Barricade. This is where Roxanne Perez grabs onto Kiana's leg. This is where she started hitting forearms right into Kiana's face. Kiana threw a forearm right back at her, respectively. This is where fans were cheering for Roxanne, like, yay, yay. And then they were booing Kiana because she is a heel. But yeah, and then this is where fans were chanting Roxy, Roxy, Roxy. And then this is where they both lost their balance. And both of them landed right on the announce table, which was very brutal. Like afterwards, they had to be checked out after this match. But speaking of after this match, this is where we get to the end of the part. This is where the fans were chanting, "Holy sugar, honey, iced tea. Holy sugar, honey, iced." And this is where Booker T was like, "Oh, yes." I was like, why you're more excited than a homeless man? First of all, why you're excited than a homeless man more excited than a homeless man in a hurricane? Yeah, hurricane. And second of all, why you're more excited than a devil in a execution room? But anyways, that's very odd. Like, but anyways, like that's his preference of him loving extreme action in this brand. Like for him as a commentator in NXT. But this is where Thea Hale and Fallon Henley was still in the ring. This is where Fallon was getting back up. This is where Thea Hale was like, she was getting hyped to take advantage and try to go for the roll up. This is where what's her name? JC Jane and ringside was like, come on, go ahead, like pin her. And then this is where Thea Hale tried to go for the surprise roll up. She only got a 1 even count. This is where Thea Hale pushed her off of her into the pin, and she landed throat and torso first right into the middle ropes, into the right hand corner ropes. This is where Fallon Henley runs right from the left, and this is where she hits this shiniest and the shiniest and impressive kick that I've ever seen a female wrestler do, and got the 1, 2, 3. And yes, sir, and ma'am, your winner tonight is Fallon Henley, and she's the 5th participant in the Iron Survivor match, along with Tiffany Stratton, Kalani Jordan, Lash Legend, and Tiffany Stratton, Kalani Jordan, Lash Legend, and what's her name? Blair Davenport, Blair Davenport, which I see her as the next Soraya. But anyways, Fallon Henley got the win, and she's gonna be. And it's where even Booker T wouldn't believe that Fallon Henley actually did it, and she earned herself a spot in the Iron Survivor match. And what do you think about this win? Was it needed? Well, I would say for one reason, like if it's not gonna be either Roxanne Perez or Kiana James, it should have been her. Like, but for the fact that she haven't really won anything much, though, this is probably the most highlighted moment of her career at this time until she start. I'll say next to her being the women's tag team champions, of course. But yeah, this is probably perfect for her to be successful into this role of possibly being the next Iron Survivor winner and earn herself a NXT Women's Championship opportunity. But yeah, do you think she could pull off an unexpected win? But yeah, this is not going to be the last time we see we'll see Fallon Henley, like, because she's going to be joining the other participants later on into an interview with Byron Saxton. And yes, you heard me right. Byron Saxton's making a rare appearance on NXT, which we probably haven't seen him in the NXT ring since when he was a rookie and when he had Dolph Ziggler as his mentor back 13 years ago. But anyways, we're going to move on. And we had some what's that post on social media from the Metaphor and the Alpha Academy, of course. Yeah. But yeah, speaking of which, we have them up next, like in a 6-person mixed tag match. But this is where we got a backstage interview with the new NXT Women's Champion, Lyra Valkyria. That's right, Lyra Valkyria. And this is where, before she can even say much, this is where what's her name? Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez came in and stepped foot saying, like, you're forgetting I'm the breakout tournament winner and I could cash it in on you at any moment. Like, I could even do it if you're around at NXT deadline if you're not afraid. And she was like, I was like, and she was like, oh, I didn't forget. Like, congratulations. I never got a chance to tell you that. But like, I will be prepared. Like, whenever I make my NXT appearances, I'm gonna expect you to try to cash it in at any moment. Like whatever chance you have, and I'll be willing to give you that title defense, whether if I'm 100% or not. And this is where Tatum Praxley came back, like, and this is where she continued her stalking onto Lyra Valkyria, like the start from last week, like when she was came out of nowhere from her last back. And he was like, oh, or do you have that opportunity? This is where that's what she said to Lola Vice. This is what Lola Vice like. Well, you need to mind your damn business. That's what you need to do. This is where Tatum Pax is like I would like I'm not like getting into your business. I'm rather rejecting. This is where Lyra Valkyria is like, let's all come to like. He's like, just calm down. And this is where she's like, and this is where Tatum Paxley was like, let's say I am ready for a fight, and like Lola, so because I'll be ready for a fight any day. I'm always ready for a fight, and that could be even tonight. That's what I meant to say. This is where Lola fights. Like, oh yeah, like how about we do it in the ring tonight? This is where Tatum Paxley was staring away from you. This is where Lyra Valkyria is like, all right, like yeah, just keep calm, like don't worry about them, like you got this. And this is where. But yeah, before we do have that match in Alpha Academy, Alpha Academy, like both of those matches even happened. This is where we got an unfortunate announcement from the former NXT North American and Tag Team Champion and future number one contender for the North American Champion, which I'm not sure if he'll be a number one contender right now, but he made his stuff. But yeah, you get the point. Wesley, like he made the unfortunate announcement that he cannot compete against Dominic Mysterio for the North American Championship due to his recent leg injury. And I believe he sustained this during the match against the other three former North American champions, Johnny Gargano, Cameron Grimes, and Big Bronson Reed. But this is where he's like, all right, but if I go to any opponent, face any opponent in any circumstances, the same way over you, all of you, like, and all of you that's home watching, cheering away and supporting, like week in and week out, and giving me the strength to do things that I never imagined that I could have done. And then this is where he also said, but that support won't help me right now due to this sad injury right here. And like it won't bring back the feeling which he had this which he was walking on a cane because he's legitimately injured right now. Like otherwise he would be fighting Dominic Mysterio for the North American title. And he's like, and it was like, but it won't help the lead the excruciating pain that I'm going through, like, and that's very unfortunate. And it's not gonna help. Like when I'm standing in the ring talking to you, like it's gonna take so much energy and time, like for me to recover from this injury. And I'm not sure, like you're not gonna when you're gonna see me again, but just as I rose from the ashes to become one of the greatest champions to step foot in this very, very NXT ring. And this is what fans are cheering, like, yeah, like you did the job. And this is where Wesley was like, I will return to further my legacy as one of the best to ever do this in this ring. And then this is where Wesley is not a good sign for me right now. And I are from being done. So when I recover from this injury, you will see me back. I don't know when, but let's just say for now, I'll see you later. And this is where he was about to leave, but Dominic Mysterio had to come in. And then he was like, whoa, you gonna give up your championship opportunity just because you have just because your legs are not in good health? And he's like, that's how my back feels from carrying all of the WWE for the past 2 years. I was like, 2 years? Like, don't you mean 3 years? Because you made your WWE in-ring debut since 2020, which your first match was with the future and now current WWE World Champion at the time, Seth freaking Rollins. Well, not the champion at the time, future at the time, and now the current World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins, at that time when he made his debut at SummerSlam. But the fans are booing him, like not as loud as they would usually be, surprisingly. He's like, "Well, you're gone for another year or recovering, like sitting at home, and like the rest of these people, watch what I do with this title and who's my next opponent. Like, since you won't be, since you won't be a deadline, who will?" Like, and this was like, I guess nobody. So I guess I have the night off. So good riddance, Wesley. I'll just chill with mommy while watching. This is where Wesley's like, wait, whoa. Like, just because I'm not going to be in the match, don't get over your heels now. Like you may not have a match against me, but however, I do have a replacement, like, for you to face this Saturday. And then this is where his self-proclaimed deadbeat dad, Rey Mysterio, came right onto the Titantron screen. Or should I say, and I quote, this is Dominic's words, not mine, because I don't think he's a deadbeat. I think he's a great dad. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in this industry right now. He wouldn't be making millions, if not billions, like if he has, even with his mask line and clothing line and other ventures outside of the ring. But why would you call him a deadbeat? I mean, even for being in kayfabe, like, it just don't make any sense. But anyway, this is where Rey Mysterio was like this Saturday, he's like, you're not like Dom, like this Saturday, you will not have the night off. Like, you'll be defending that North American title at a deadline. Like, and I know a guy who's that gonna be, and I'd be clear that I will be clear, to see this NXT deadline match, to see who's gonna walk out there is the he's like, and I will make sure that this opponent of yours will have a fair fight, and I'll make sure he's gonna walk out of there is your new North American Championship, and I hope he sure do, because when I tell you who he announced it was he's like that. Because he's like, that means like my brother from another mother, like the future of Lucha Libre in WWE, and that possibly could be the next me one day. And that man is none other than Dragon Lee. Like, yes, we're finally gonna get him to face Dominic Mysterio, something that we should have had from the past couple of months. And hopefully he does win the North American Championship, even though the Judgment Day really needs gold right now. If Damian Priest and Finn Balor are still going to be their tag team championship, so whenever they lose the tag team championships, I think that's Dominic Mysterio should lose the North American title again. But I think they should put the title right on the Dragon Lee on this match. I mean, in this match this Saturday, Saturday. I'm right, on December 9th, I believe, which is 5 days from now. I can hardly wait. Well, 5 days? No, 4 days. My apologies. I must be thinking it's Monday. But yeah, this is where Dragon Lee comes out there, confronts him. This is where he was like, this will be my championship, even if I face you. This is where he tried to go for a clothesline. Dragon Lee ducks out of the way. This is where he started hitting right hands, but this is where Dom Mysterio barely hit one. This is where Dragon Lee was repeatedly pounding his head in. This is where Irish whips him right from the left side to the right side. This is where Dominic Mysterio throws him into the right side. This is where Dragon Lee hits the ultimate comeback move in all the sports entertainment of 2023. The crossbody, running crossbody from the right-hand side ropes. This is where he's like, what you got now? Facing Wesley, he don't have the night off. Not quite. But this is where Dragon Lee grabs on his championship. He was like, "This will be mine by this coming Saturday. This will be mine, and so you better hold on to it and kiss this title goodbye, like, and hold to it for the next 4 days for me, like, until I get my hands on it when I defeat you." Which, do you think you have the chance of beating the ex-con of the Judgment Day, or do you think the ex-con of the Judgment Day is going to retain and have another victim that he successfully retained his championship with? Which, quite frankly, he really don't have that much successful title defense. Only a very few, like, and they're hardly memorable. I'll say, unless they're from the main roster, like the likes of Butch and even Ricochet fought for that championship. But other than that, I just don't remember him actually defending it that much successfully. Like, and he won it right back from what's his name, from Trick Williams. But we're gonna move on to the next wrestling. And he just lost the title when he had it for only a couple of months. But and also Mustafa Ali. But with Wesley taking a pinfall, which Mustafa Ali didn't got a chance to get a rematch because he got released like a couple weeks later due to the TKO Group Holdings merger. But anyway, but we do get the Tatum Paxley versus Lola Vice match. That's right. And I'm gonna get to the point of this match, which the protege of Elektra Lopez took on the wife of Javier Bernal, I believe his name is. Javier Bernal. But anyway, yeah, Tatum Paxley. This is where Lola Vice hits a headlock on her. This is where Tatum Paxley grab her from behind, grab her like and do a back to belly, but she Irish whips her right into the left side of the ropes, but she hangs on to the ropes. This is where she tried to go for a running knife edge chop, but this is where not Elektra Lopez, her protege Lola Vice, ducks out of the way, runs right through the right hand ropes, hit a sleeper onto her, and I was like, man, like, is it just me or the Tatum Paxley looks like a WWE NXT version of Sky Blue from AEW? Speaking of blue, like I'm starting to be more bluer than Sky Blue, considering my mask and cape. But anyways, this is where, except like she wears more red rather than blue, Tatum Paxley. But this is where Lola Vice was continuing to hit her headlock right onto Tatum Paxley. This is where Tatum Paxley hits an Irish whip right onto her opponent, like onto the left hand side of the ropes. This is where she hits a slamming intercepting spine buster right onto Tatum. This is where Paxley hits a shoulder right into the midsection of Lola Vice. This is where she tried to go. Just where she went round to the right hand corner ropes. Yeah, but this is where Lola Vice is like, no, I'll never surrender. No, I don't want to perish. And then this is where Tatum Paxley started hitting right forearm strikes right onto Lola Vice's face. This is where the referee was like, hey, she's under the ring. Like, and he did his 5-second warning count. Then she had no choice but to let go, or else she would have lost by DQ. This is where Tatum Paxley drags her out of the ring, try to go for a pin, but she only got a 1-2 ooh. This is where she slams Lola Vice's face right onto the lower right hand corner of the top turnbuckle. This is where Tatum Paxley was continuing her crawling, like if she's some kind of a fashion banshee, I suppose. Something that I guess Javier Bernal prefers to date, or even marries, I should say, because in this case they just got engaged about a couple of months ago. But I want to say congratulations once again to them. But anyway, this is where Tatum Paxley hits a crossbody onto her right in the midsection. This is where Paxley tried to go for an attack, but this is where this is where Lola Vice grabs onto her legs, wraps them around her hand, starts squeezing the life out of Tatum Paxley. This is where Tatum Paxley caught her right in midair, hit some kind of a spine buster power bomb combo, like right into her back through the middle canvas of the ring. This is where Tatum Paxley starts stomping onto the midsection of Lola Vice. This is where she picks up her hair. This is where she just stand on her like a stepping stool, jump right onto her into a crossbody right onto her back. Like this is where she tried to go for a pin, but she only got a near fall, which is the which is a 2.999. This is where Tatum Paxley goes for the leg lock right on the midsection of Lola Vice. This is where she started hitting the forearm right onto the face of Paxley. This is where she tried to go for a triangle choke, right, with her legs wrapped around her neck and head. This is where Tatum Paxley tried to go for the roll-up, which is the most devastating move in sports entertainment. This is where Lola Vice kicks out of it at 2. This is where Tatum Paxley tried to go for her stepping stool splash right in the middle of the ring, but it wasn't a guaranteed, because this is where Lola Vice caught her leg. This is where she hits her finishing ankle lock maneuver on the Paxley. This is where Paxley's like, no, I will not tap. This is where she grabs on the ropes, like finally into the lower side. This is where she tried to go on attack of Lola Vice, but she kicks her right in the midsection with a front sliding roundhouse kick. This is where Lola Vice try to go. This is where she hits a right hand right to the midsection of Tatum Paxley. This is where she hits a spinning elbow right onto the Tatum Paxley. This is where she kicks her knee down when she got back up and put her left knee down onto the mat. This is where she hits the spinning kick, the spinning tornado kick, looking like Nikita Lyons, but if she was Hispanic, of course. This is where she hits a roundhouse kick right in the midsection again, except this time when she was hanging on to the lower right-hand side of the turnbuckle, I should say. This is where Lola Vice hits her running hip attack right onto her face. This is where Booker T was like, oh, yes. I was like, whatever that means. Let's hope it's not something that's inappropriate and making your wife Charlene jealous. But this is where – oh, not Charlene, Charlotte. No, not Charlotte. Charmel, my apologies, Booker, by the way, if you're watching this video. Charmel, yeah, that's her name, Queen Charmel. Just make sure don't make her jealous, like, because yeah, you're a married man, bruh. But anyways, this is where Lola Vice rolls her over into the middle of the ring. This is where she had tried to go for a running hip attack, like a snapmare hip attack onto Tatum Paxley. This is where she grabs onto her legs, hit the most devastating move in sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. This is where Lola Vice hit the spinning roundhouse kick right into the head, go for the pin, got the 1, 2, 3 after both women getting back up and hitting that spinwards kick right into the head. And this is where Lola Vice maintains her momentum of being the unbeatable woman into the women's division, and perhaps the future NXT Women's Champion, and maybe even future WrestleMania main eventer if she gets called to the main roster. Which I heard from a wrestling news story that she could possibly main event WrestleMania, like as soon as she's done with her NXT work and get a call up from NXT. This is where Vic Joseph was like, what is Tatum Paxley was doing? Because he was in the upper right-hand corner. And she started playing with her face like if she's the new NXT version of Nikki Cross. But this is where we got a backstage segment, like from last week with Nathan Fraser looking in this bruised face in the backstager. It's like, and then this is where it's like not a good. This is where Axiom came from behind, and told Nathan Frazer when he was looking in the ring, looking at his bruise, he was like, "That does not look a good look." And he's like, "Yeah, you should see the other guy." And then this is where Axiom was like, "Yeah, no disrespect, Nathan, but it looks like you pushed this button just a little bit, and you paid for the price. Like maybe if you worn this, perhaps." And then this is where Nathan Frazer was like, "No way, I am not wearing a mask." Like, you know what? Why you give me a head? Why you give me a heads up or something? Like you, like what do you think we are? Some kind of a pair? And this is where Axiom told him was like, "Look, like you're a smart man, Nathan, and you know better. But perhaps you got what you deserve. Like, no offense." And he was like, "This is where Nathan Frazer was like, no." And he was like, "Yo, you trying to, you trying to fight me now, and you're trying to challenge me into a fight or something, and what do you mean by that?" And this is where Axiom was like, "No, I'm not challenging you for a fight. Like, I'm just, but if you feel." He's like, if you take care of responsibility more than the way you look right now, like perhaps if you want to do something about it, I understand. But like, and he was like as soon as that heals up, like, how about we go out in the ring and have a little fun, like good old times. And this is when Nathan Frazer like, yeah, like I guess I will accept your challenge. Like, let's do. And he's like, and after this match was this whole thing behind us. That's what Axiom said. This is where Nathan Frazer was like, yeah, it sounds good to me. Like, bro, like, and he was like, well, being the warning, like, your face is gonna be a whole lot of hell worse than mine. During our match, like, just a little warning, even though we can't see your face and see what's the aftermath of the match, but I can see it right. But I can still see your face right through the mask. Which, yeah, I'll say that's true because considering the front part of the mask being black, so we can't see nothing, no expressions on his face whatsoever, looking like a full black face mask version of Sin Cara. Like, that's how Axiom looks like right now. But he's like, and this is where Axiom responds like, "Oh, I can't afford to lose the moneymaker right here. Like, this is what's make me famous." So I was like, if that was the case, why are you still wearing the mask? Oh, that's right. Like, it's not his fault. Like it was thanks to WWE changing his character, like from being the A Kid to Axiom. But I mean, he still looks good and still talented despite the attire change. But I would say it didn't even matter if you would wear a mask or not, unless it was a preference of his. Like, I think wrestlers should the way they dress, it's in their preference rather than the promoters. Like, on what what I'm trying to say is what they're comfortable of wearing. That's what my opinion of the matter is. But this is where we do have the match later on. But after this match between the Alpha Academy against the Metaphor in the six-person mixed tag match with Chad Gable and Otis and Maxine Dupree taking on Noam Dar, Oro Menza, and Lash Legend. And we start off with who started off the match, and that was Chad Gable and Noam Dar. Like, with Noam Dar hitting side swipe kicks, but Chad Gable dodged the other one. That's where he ducks behind right onto Noam Dar in the back to belly position, try to go for a German suplex. But he's like, you know what? I'll do it later. This is where he spin him around, hits a guillotine hold right onto him. This is where he drops him down like into a back to belly amateur style lock. And then try to go for a German suplex. This is where Noam Dar rolls out of the way. This is where Noam Dar was back in control into a grapple right onto Chad Gable. This is where referee was like, Like 1, 2, 3, let go, Chad. This is where I'm letting go, and he hits the cheap shot of a left hand right to the jaw of Chad Gable. This is where Chad Gable picks him up, hits him with a spin, like into a spinning spine buster, like a flipping spinning spine buster maneuver, looking like if he did an exploder suplex, but it's like a flip, like a spine buster flip maneuver, whatever it's called. I forget. Jack Swagger doesn't move like that, or Jake Hager now, considering he's on AEW now, using his real name. But anyway, this is where Chad Gable tried to go for a pin, but he only got a 1. This is where he tried to go for the ankle lock to try to end the match. This is where he's like, no, I can't take the pain. That's what Noam Dar was like when he was hanging on to the middle rope because he got a rope break after Chad Gable applied the ankle lock. This is where he's like, no. This is where Lash Legends tagged herself in this by slapping Noam Dar's back. This is where, oh no, she was just making sure. Not my bad. I thought it was a tag, but it was a pound of back. It was actually Ora Menza. That got tagged in by Noam Dar. He's like, you can't. I try to take this off. This is the metaphor we're speaking. I was like, why you're putting your hands down like that? Like if you have a disability on your hand, like my brother's friend that you trying to look like. But anyways, this is where Chad Gable, like, he's like, where's the metaphor? I was like, why are you putting your hands like if you have double of a disability? Yeah, they're just like my brother's friend. But anyways, this is where Chad Gable's like, or you can put their hands up like this. And then Chad Gable's like, thank you. And then this is where Ora Menza try to go for a knife edge chop, but this is where Chad Gable started hitting chops right back, defending himself, and also trying to send Gunther a message that he's going to be the one to defeat him for his Intercontinental Championship in the next opportunity that he gets, which I believe is going to be in the upcoming couple of weeks. Because Gunther last night was asking Adam Pearce about who could be his next number one contender, which this is a perfect time to have Chad Gable to be as a candidate, because he's shown that he could do very successfully even in the singles division, he even proved that even on tonight's match against the Metaphor. But anyway, that's where he are repeatedly hitting chops, which I believe it's a smart idea if you're trying to piss off the Austrian ring general, because considering you could be the next one to be the Intercontinental Champion. But fortunately, Chad Gable is not on the list. He's just going to wait for him to face him again in the Intercontinental Championship rematch, I suppose. This is where Chad Gable tried to Irish whip him from the upper right-hand corner, like when he was doing the chop towards the lower left-hand corner. But Noam Dar's main man, Ora Menza, counters it. Counters his Irish whip and Irish whipped him instead. But Chad Gable did a springboard dodge and leapfrog over Ora Menza. This is where Ora Menza spins, turns around and trips him over face first right into the canvas. This is where Ora Menza slapped him or shoved the back of his head. This is where he tried to go for an exploder suplex. This is where Chad Gable shoves him right lower left side corner of the turnbuckle face first. This is where he tried to go for the roll, but he's like, you know what? I think I'll wait for that later. He does a roll right back onto the upper right side. This is where Chad Gable came back, and this is where he dodged Ora Menza's trip over, like trying to take a page out of the 2012 Olympians playbook. This is where Chad Gable went right in the lower right hand of the lower. There's no such thing as the lower hand. It's the lower corner ropes. Runs right through there. This is where he does a spinning corkscrew arm drag. This is where he does another one. This is where he had him in an abdominal arm bar stretch, like onto Ora Menza's left arm. This is where Ora Menza was flipping over. He's like, get me out. This is where he kicks him right into. This is where he tried to kick Chad Gable right in the face, but Chad Gable had plenty of experience with handling legs and he expected Ora Menza to do this. So he waited for him to do so he could catch on to both of his legs until he grabbed particularly his right leg into an ankle lock. This is where Oral Menza starts standing like, no, please don't let go. And this is where Chad Gable was like, sheesh, and he flips it over, which I think he made a mistake because this is where Oral Menza tried to go for a kick, but Chad Gable, fortunately, still have experience with legs, like still have the memory of experience with legs, I should say, and hang on to his legs. Got into a right leg ankle lock, which he hang on to the ropes, like this is where hang on to the ropes on his corner in the lower right hand side, and then this is where both Noam Dar and Lash Legend grabbed onto his arms to pull him in the side. This is where the referee was like, all right, like he's in base, so you can't touch him. This is where Lash Legend tagged herself in. This is where the referee's like, tag, like, all right, Chad Gable, go to Maxine. And this is where Otis was like, no, me. I want some of that Lash. I was like, but Otis, like, I thought you were satisfied with Maxine. Like, but it's none of my business. Like, and besides, this is just a part of a wrestling TV show. So I'm not going to take that much seriousness into this, but I was just being funny on the side of things, obviously. This is where Chad Gable was like, oh, and this is where Maxine's like, nope, nobody touches my big Otis man but me. And this is where Lash Legend hits a forearm right to her face. This is where Maxine Dupree goes and try to go for a strike, but it was too late for her to do anything. She gets Irish whip like from Lash Legend right to the upper right corner of the team of the turnbuckle. This is where she tried to go for an attack onto Maxine Dupree, but Maxine Dupree hits her foot right into her face. This is where Lash Legend tried to go for a clothesline. She ducks from going to the left hand side. This is where she tried to go for a sliding Hurricane Rana onto Lash Legend, but this is where Lash Legend will hang on to her. She was considering trying to hit a powerbomb on her, but Maxine Dupree managed to hit the Hurricane Rana onto her. This is where she goes go for a pin, but into like in a roll-up position, like a Hurricane Rana roll-up position, but she instantly kicks out of Maxine Dupree's apply of a pin roll-up. This is where Maxine Dupree tried to go for a suplex, but Lash Legend was keep countering and trying to get out of Maxine Dupree's suplex. This is where she just a single axe handle right on the back of Maxine Dupree. This is where she Irish whips her towards the left-hand side ropes in the corner. This is where she tried to go for a fallaway slam and nearly lost her balance, but she regained it when she hanged on to the right-hand side ropes. But she instantly gets tagged in by Noam Dar patting her back into a tag. This is where Lash Legend just tossed Maxine Dupree like if she was a small child. This is where Otis was like, oh yeah, like that means I'm in. And then this is where Lash Legend's like, oh no, like Noam save me, like. And this is where Noam Dar came in and then grabbed onto Otis's head, try to go for a headlock, which was not a good idea at that time because he got instantly countered by the big man, and he got Irish whip right from the right-hand side ropes. This is where Otis hits a shoulder tackle right onto Noam Dar. But Noam Dar tried to go for a clothesline himself, but this is where Otis was still standing. This is where he tried to go for a clothesline, but this is where Noam Dar ducks and knocks down Chad Gable from their corner in the upper left side. This is where, off the apron, I should say, this is where Otis tried to go for a splash onto Noam Dar, but Noam Dar started hitting right hands right onto the midsection of Otis. This is where Oral Menza tried, and he tags in Oral Menza. This is where they try to go for a double suplex on it, but they end up getting double suplexed by Otis, and their plan was backfire. This is where he tagged in Chad Gable. This is where he hits a diving double crossbody clothesline, and then this is where he went right to the ringside into the right hand corner, started swinging right hands right into the face of Noam Dar, right onto Alan, the announce table, where Vic Joseph and Booker T was sitting behind. And then this is where Lash Legend and Maxine Dupree was continuing to hit fists on each other into this match. This is where Chad Gable tossed Oral Menza right into the timekeeper's area. But this is where Chad Gable and Noam Dar eventually got back in the ring. This is where he tags in Maxine Dupree, and this is where when oh no, before he did that, this is where he tags in Otis. Otis got tagged in. This is where Noam Dar, I believe, tagged in Lash Legend. This is where Otis is like, yeah, all right, let's do this, baby. And let's battle it out, like, and not in the fighting way, of course, unfortunately. This is where he tried to give her a big old bear hug, but this is where Lash Legend moved out of the way. And this is the only thing I'll say she can be compared as Bianca Belair. Is by being the second ever woman to pick up Otis, like step into a body slam position, while Bianca had her in the firewoman's position, like by carrying her into the obstacle challenge that Bayley challenged her back in 2021, when she only carried Chad Gable, while Bianca got it more difficult with Otis, like carrying Otis. But she hit him with a very impressive and shocking body slam that I've never seen any other woman can do. But I'll say that's the only thing I'd say she's similar to Bianca Belair. But the rest, I think she's just the wannabe in comparison. But anyways, this is where Maxine Dupree came in, gets tagged in, and she knocked. And this is where she knocked Lash Legend out of the ring. This is where she stand on the shoulders of Chad Gable, hits the diving crossbody over the top rope onto the left-hand side of the ringside area, and, which is the ultimate comeback move in all the sports entertainment / pro wrestling in 2023, which will be the last time will be known as the ultimate comeback move in 2023, considering this is the last month of December. But this is where we thought like we could ask some advice from the greatest of all tag teams in NXT, from the Gals Boys. And this is where we're here to set off a challenge. This is where Wolfgang was like, so you're trying to hear the face us, like the three of us right here, like for real? And this is where Wolfgang was like, absolutely not. And then this is where Mark Coffey was like, there's plenty of guys that want. There's plenty of guys that you want to fight out there. Like just find one of them. And this is where, Tank Hawk was like, maybe this is where he asked Hank Walker this. He was like, maybe you could tell them and understand in a language that they can understand. And then this is where he's like, all right, let's give these Bam Hawks some packets, and we're gonna battle with these Gals Boys on what we made of. And then this is where Wolfgang got pissed off. He was like, all right, like nobody don't talk to us like that. Like if you want to fight, we'll give you one for that reason. And he's like that. And then this is where Tank Hawk was like, yeah, that's it. That's what we're looking for. Embrace this anger. Like Wolfie, like embrace this. Like what you boys against Hank and Tank, it's not just us and just in the ring. Next Tuesday on NXT. And this is where Mark Coffey was like, if we accept your silly challenge, like will you next week, like are y'all gonna leave our locker room, I believe it is, or their little room, or whatever they call it, like whatever room it's called. Let me know in the comments about what they call it. But he's like, will you leave our locker room? This is where he's like, yeah, absolutely. And it's like, okay, you got yourself a match. Like, and this is where Mark Coffey also said, see you next week. But up next, we do have a little Iron Survivor Challenge submit interview with Tiffany Stratton, Kalani Jordan, Blair Davenport, Lash Legend, and Fallon Henley. And what do you think about the Gallus Boys taking on Hank Walker and Tank Hawk in the next week tag team match? And I believe this could be a sign for either for Hank Walker and Tank Hawk to be a very successful tag team in the division. If they could benefit off this tag team from one of the former against the former NXT tag team champions in their own rights is in their resumes in WWE in the NXT brand for the past few years, of course. But who you think's gonna win? Y'all let me know in the comments down below. But it shows that everything in NXT is doing really good right about now, especially in their tag team and their women's division and their right now, but not entirely, but just perfectly enough to be a show that you want to watch every week for being a WWE, as a WWE brand, even though it's developmental, but they're starting to look like they could compete with Raw and SmackDown when it comes to brand supremacy, like they were trying to do in 2019. But anyways, let's move on to the next segment, which is with Byron Saxton and this is where Tiffany Stratton started. It's like, I am the center of the universe, and I am the favorite of winning these Iron Survivor match. I was like, yeah, it's true. I'll say you're the first, while Kalani Jordan's perhaps the second favorite, considering she nearly won the Breakouts tournament. They'll probably reward her with this win, if not Tiffany Stratton, into this award her this win, with her winning this Iron Survivor match, if she can win this match, of course. But I would say, yeah, she's the favorite. She was like, she even, and she also said, she even got a shout out by Charlotte Flair, that she's the future of the women's division, perhaps main eventing the next WrestleMania. I'll say, well, she didn't say that, but I would say, yeah, she could be the future in the women's division, the main roster. Just when that time is right, she will be in the women's division. And you want cereal? Can you ask Grandma to get it? Oh. Well, I'm in the middle of doing my podcast right here. Can you wait just a second, Birdie? But this is where, yeah, Tiffany Stratton was like, I got a shout out that I'm the future of the women's division. And I said, yeah, you are the future of the women's division, perhaps even main event in WrestleMania in the upcoming year, not this year, but I'll say in the next upcoming years, to come, whether if she's the champion or whether if she's challenging for the championship, by winning the Royal Rumble, the Women's Royal Rumble, which WWE are finally going to be on their word. And then this was and who's going to be and who can stop me from being the winner of this match? No one. I was like, yeah, I'll say unless if it was Kalani, then I would say, yeah, no one. But at this point, but I'll say she is the number one favorite, which the second one I'll say Kalani on my prediction. But what y'all think? Who thinks going to win this match before I continue? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. And this is where Tiffany Stratton's besides, and also I'm actually the only woman in this ring that's the participant in this match for the Saturday that actually won her first reign as NXT Women's Champion. And then she's and it's only